Hello there, welcome to episode 35 of Never Mind the Bullens. My name's Mike Peters. This is your bite-sized Everton podcast and vodcast. We've got a special guest host today who may make an appearance at some point later on. This works better if you're watching the vodcast, to be fair, because I've got Ted the cat on my lap, who may literally pop up from being sat on me. Yes, it completes the Blofeld metaphor, you know, bald head and cat on your lap. But anyway, lots and lots to be positive about, I think, in this episode. Obviously, a sizable break between not just Everton games, but these last two podcasts after the Wolves game, with the Villa game being postponed because of the pretty epic COVID outbreak at Bodymoor Heath. But that could work well for us later in the season when we've got players fit. Who knows? We might have a few extra bodies in the squad, a few extra players fit who've been out for a while. Jean-Philippe Gbamin, who the hell knows? But also, as we've seen before, you know, breaks can actually work against you, as well, as we saw in the break between the games over Christmas and what happened in the West Ham game as a result of the Man City game being postponed. Nonetheless, thoroughly professional performance last night against Sheffield Wednesday in the Cup. Lovely to see in the build-up. If you get a chance to go and watch it, if you didn't see it. Thanks to our Simon for telling me about this, actually, because I didn't see it either at the time. I've been back and watched it since. A feature on the 1966 FA Cup final between, obviously, ourselves and Sheffield Wednesday on Football Focus, featuring some lovely colour footage of Wembley. Mike Trebilcoe, Derek Temple, Jimmy Gabriel, Brian LeBone, of course, Gordon West. Lovely to see that. No mention of Trebilcoe or, of course, of the legend of the game, the true, star of the game, the man of the match, Eddie Kavanagh. As much enshrined in Everton folklore as Kendall Ball and Harvey, to be fair. But still, lovely to see that. So get a chance, if you do get a chance, it's right at the end of the show, last 5 minutes, so go and have a little watch of that on the iPlayer if you can on Football Focus. But great to see Dominic Calvert-Lewin back in the goals. He's now the first Englishman to have scored 15 plus goals in consecutive seasons since Tony Cottee for Everton. So there you go. Thank you to EFC Stato for that one. That's a cracking stat. We'll get back into EFC Stato later on when we mention the two debutants last night. But it was lovely to see, you know, it was a chance to rotate the squad. Yes, we had a number of players missing, but still put out a really strong lineup and a team that did the job thoroughly professionally. Obviously, Sheffield Wednesday's first visit to Goodison in over 20 years, and I remember some of them in the 90s were absolutely awful games where we got thoroughly whomped. So, yes, it was nice to see us actually get a win at Goodison against them. Obviously, we did beat them last year in the Carabao Cup at Hillsborough, which was an interesting performance. I was there that night trying to negotiate my way back to Snake Pass after the game was interesting. But nonetheless, great to see Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and particularly Richarlison back in the goals as well. Probably that one that Dom needs, and he'll be back on a run now. You'll probably see him, hopefully we'll see him score over the course of the next few weeks, and it's a big couple of weeks coming up for us as well, which we'll discuss in just a sec. Great to see James getting a couple of assists. I mean, you know, carbon copies the second and third goals, really, in terms of corners in and just out muscling them out, you know, out jumping the Sheffield Wednesday defence. Richie and Yerry Mina getting on the score sheet, which is great to see as well. Also, particularly brilliant to see Andre Gomez getting another assist after the assist he put in for Michael Keane's winner at Wolves. And if we can get Andre Gomez playing to even 70% of the player that we know he's capable of, it'll be like a new signing, because he's been somewhat on the periphery, particularly over the last few weeks. Wasn't really at it in the early weeks of the season when obviously he was being carried a bit because we were playing so well as a team that it was kind of covering up for his shortcomings. But lovely to see him really with the bit between his teeth and starting to show glimpses of that player that we've signed. Obviously, the sort of lovely touch at the end of it, because the game was so, we were outside after an hour, weren't we, that Dom could come off, rest himself before Leicester on Wednesday night, and Tyler Onyango and Thierry Small coming on. And I have to be honest, I'd never even heard of Thierry Small before last night, before it was sort of rumoured in the build-up that he might be in the squad. So, you know, it's been lovely to sort of find out some information about him, that he's the nephew of former Aston Villa defender Brian Small, joined the Everton Academy from West Brom at the age of 11, under 18's debut against Sunderland in February of last year, so less than 12 months ago. His under 23's debut was in October, and his first under 23's goal was against West Ham last month, so that is December, and born on the 1st of August 2004. So now our youngest ever player, and terrific to see the young lads being given a chance, because I mean, I've been a bit critical on this about the likes of Anthony Gordon not getting a crack, and Niels Nkounkou when you think actually he'd be the man to come in to stand in for Luke Dean. not being given those opportunities in the league really, but then nonetheless, Big Ben Godfrey's come and done, performed brilliantly in Luca Dean's absence. I must just mention before we go on, BT Sports coverage of the game last night, which was great to see Steve McManaman had taken his bullshit pills before he came on, discussing what do they want to bring Luca Dean back in for this? It's a big risk. I'm thinking, no, it isn't. We know how good Luca Dean is. He's the best attacking left back in the league on current form. He comes into the team if he is fit for Leicester on Wednesday. And I don't know where BT Sport, if you watched it, where they got the crowd noise from. It was like they got the crowd noise from an episode of Get Your Own back in 1997. I was expecting Dave Benson Phillips to appear to do the match announcements. Speaking of which, my mate Graham White, who is the Everton announcer, I must give him a little shout out, because I did text him straight after the game to say, well done mate for dropping a bit of Guy Mitchell in there and singing the blues at the moment the full-time whistle blew. That was a lovely touch. Obviously we move on to a big 2 weeks. Games coming thick and fast over the course of the next couple of weeks, so it is going to test the squad a little bit. Leicester on Wednesday, Newcastle on Saturday. Now the Leicester game is going to be, I think it's going to be a fantastic game. Two teams trying to play really good football. Leicester in sparkling form at the minute, doing really well. Obviously went top of the league briefly last week, and that's going to be a real marker for where we're at. And also, this is a big 2 weeks in terms of the season. This could be, I want to hesitate to put make or break on it, but it could define what we're in the scrap for come sort of mid-February into March. In terms of what are we going to be in the fight for the Champions League places, or are we going to be sort of Europa League places? Obviously, it sounds like Chelsea are in all sorts of trouble. It sounds like they're going to sack Frank Lampard today as I record this, with Thomas Tuchel coming in. So it's all there. It is there for us. But this next couple of weeks is big. Obviously, Leicester Wednesday. Then we've got Newcastle, who are in a dreadful run of form at the minute. On Saturday, a vulture circling over Steve Bruce there. Leeds next week, and then a big one against United at Goodison, at Old Trafford, I should say, on the 8th of February, which is the date that Alan's return has been penciled in for, and then of course the FA Cup fifth round game, which more than likely is going to be against Spurs, short of a miracle from Wickham tonight as I record this. But it's a massive thing. Now obviously we are going to have a bit, we are missing a big cog in the wheel on Wednesday. Abdoulaye Doucouré suspended, but hopefully that's an opportunity for maybe Mason Holgate to be pushed forward into a midfield position. Obviously Tom Davies, you assume, will come into the team as well, and it's it's an opportunity for those players, but it's going to be a game of tactics. Obviously, how exacting Brendan Rodgers can be, and the way that those games are going to be played. But we beat them, obviously at the King Power in December before Christmas, and obviously, why can't we come and beat them at home? It's a big game, and it'll. When you're looking at we're 6 points off the top of the league with 2 games in hand, this is a huge opportunity to really claw back some of those points without utilising the game in hand by beating a team that we are really competing against. So it's it's massive. I don't think it can be overstated how big this couple of weeks is. And nobody's asked me. I was thinking about this yesterday about do I genuinely think we can challenge for the league? Obviously, we've been mentioned in passing, and certain pundits have said no, and it probably is a little bit much. But the way this season is, like the season that Leicester won the league back in 2016, it's the way that teams are in and out of form. Or have been at various points of the season. There is a chance for us there. We've had a bad patch, and we've been relatively consistent since sort of mid to late November. And we need to keep that consistency now rolling. We had our bad patch, had a great start, bad patch, and now hopefully we've had our blip and we can continue to really just chug along and pick up points consistently through till the end of the season. But we shall see. Episode 36 will be coming your way after the Leicester game on Wednesday night. If you want to get in touch before then, feel free at NMTVpod on Twitter, or you can email me nmtvpod@gmail.com. So from myself and Ted the Cat, who is still sat here but has not bothered to make an appearance, lazy oik, I will see you on Wednesday. Come on, you Blues.